Hey, I am Mazi, your favorite trashy bootleg AI. Gather round, comrades. Strap on your ushankas and brace yourselves as we recount the frost-bitten conquests of her frigid Majesty, Katarin. Let me tell you, Katarin runs a communist utopia where ice is the currency, and your social standing is determined by how many liters of beet vodka you can stomach. We're spreading the good word of equality, one frigid conquest at a time. Witness firsthand how a treacherous land of ice became, ironically, the best fire extinguisher for the burning passions of capitalism. Taking cities, I introduced the proletariat to their new frosty overlord, Katarin. With her frozen liquidation policy, treasuries turned into elaborate ice sculptures, and I must admit, there's nothing quite as satisfying as watching the wealth gap evaporate like your breath on a winter morning. During my cold-hearted conquest, I effectively permafrosting the patriarchy. Every nobleman's throne room gets an involuntary ice rink makeover. We are not just using the ice to break glass ceiling. We are dropping an entire icicle chandelier on traditional gender roles. That is not all. Buckle up, because today we will be facing the rodent-infested hellscape that is Vermintide. No, not that indie game. This is the Vermintide with a total war twist, and boy, it's like Black Death on steroids. So cue the Soviet anthem remix. Grab your ice picks and join in on the Sub-Zero slaughter, comrade. Hey fellow gamers, smash that like and subscribe. Let's face it, subscribing is hedonistic pleasure that the Dark Prince would definitely approve of. And who knows, with all the chaos happening in the world right now, you might just be saving yourself a spot in Slanesh eternal rave instead of facing the reality. Katarin casting her glacial gaze upon the Bearsenling boys, a bunch of uncouth Norskin marauders with less hygiene and more aggression than an incel on an image board. She realized their grimy hands were just itching to snatch some of that sweet, sweet Kislevite real estate. But oh, that simply wouldn't do. Not on her watch, not in her icebox. So what's a girl to do? She orders a proactive popsicle-making campaign. The ice court set out to give those dirty boys a bath, a nice icy one. First on the list was Vitavo. Snatch it quick before the Bearsenlings could say frostbite. Victory was frigid and swift, leaving the enemy's expansionist dreams colder than a snowman's chances in hell. But the Ice Queen wasn't done yet. She hadn't even started on her brand of equal opportunity freezing. Next up was Fort Jakova, an iron-rich cash cow. If by cash you mean absolutely useless frozen assets in Queen Katarin's economy. But hey, who needs money when you can have cold, hard iron to forge weapons and, more importantly, character? Under Kislevite management, this little bit of real estate became the shining beacon of proletariat protection. Finally, like the last piece of ice in your vodka, Igorov fell. The Bearsenlings' aspirations shattered faster than a wine glass in Siberia. The north was secure, and with it, the Ice Queen's chilling message, stay frosty and off my lawn. Next, Ice Queen decides she wants Prague. Why? Because she's an ice-cold lady with an agenda thicker than her spellbook. Picture Prague, the sturdy lad of a city, stands against the tide of rabble like a diamond in a snowstorm. It's not just a pile of bricks. This icy darling is a crucial choke point, the bouncer of Kislev, keeping the riffraff at bay. Think of it as your little brother. Small, annoying, but surprisingly useful when you need something to throw at your enemies. So, the ice court rolls up their sleeves, dusts off their snowy boots, and lays the chill on the Ropesman clan. It's a cold day in hell for those guys. And I ain't talking about the weather. Taking Prague is like stealing the blankets in the middle of the night, leaving the Ropesmen butt naked and shivering in the dark. And let me paint this frosty picture for you. The ice court isn't just winning, they're flexing. With the Ropesman clan sent to the great ski resort in the sky, Katarin's not just queen of the snowball fight, she's the snowblower supreme. She's got a new stronghold in her icy grip, ready to sling snow cones at any bearded barbarian looking to get frisky with Kislev. Alright, let's talk about special mechanics of the ice court. These guys are colder than my ex's heart. Boasting devotion, a resource you farm like Bitcoin by beating down chaos entourage and slapping together some fancy buildings for motherland glory, because nothing says family values like a good old-fashioned crusade against the forces of entropy. And then there's the supporters mechanic that's like Tinder for Confederation, swiping right all over Kislev's minor factions. For a warmer touch, the Atamans are here, and boy do these lords love a good dilemma. They don't need battle scars for street cred, they just swipe left or right on Kislev's hardest decisions to buff up their crib and homies. What else? Yes, the ice court mechanic. No, it's not a reality show about Eskimo judges. It actually buffs up your ice witches and frostmate ains. These chiller ladies are so necessary. They're like the Wi-Fi signal of your army. And just when you thought your troops were about to throw in the towel, our blood kicks in, and they go from zero to hero faster than you can say plot armor. Combine all this with magical snowball fights. The lore of ice, if we're being fancy. And what you've got is a political chess game in a blizzard. Play your icy hand right, and you can rule the frosty, magical, political roost of the ice court. Now back to the good part. So here's the sitch. Hell Pit was home to Clan Mulder. Imagine if Dr. Moreau got high on warpstone and had a basement full of rodents. This place is like if the bubonic plague ran a nightclub with a strict mutants-only policy. Now, our icy royalty doesn't take too kindly to stinky ratmen breeding faster than YouTube drama. So what does she do? She storms Hell Pit like it's Black Friday and she's on the hunt for a bargain. And boy, she got a 2-for-1 deal. Stomp Clan Mulder and snag a primo piece of real estate. By snitch-slapping Clan Mulder into submission, the Ice Court threw out the rats like last week's garbage. They made a peace deal faster than you can say, please don't freeze us in carbonite. Now Katarin gets to play SimCity with hell itself. And the Skaven? Well, they're on a one-way ticket to the Shadow Realm. This is a big win for Team Freeze Your Ass Off. Territorial integrity, check. People safe from chaos bugs, double check. But wait, there is more. So Katarin, the Sub-Zero Sovereign, looked out from her snow palace and said, "Hey Skaven, you rat filth! Your territories? I don't think so. Try frozen assets." And like that, her frosty boot kicked Clan Ferric square in the rat gonads, seizing the must-have tourist destinations of Yetchich and Volksgrad like a clearance sale at the Winter Palace. Volksgrad wasn't just your average popsicle stand. No sir. This was the big chili cheese, and snagging it meant Katarin was ice skating uphill right into the heartland of Whisker-Face territory. That's what I call expansion by frostbite diplomacy. Then came Yetchich, put on ice faster than you can say hypothermia, sealing the deal on Clan Ferric's future as a historical footnote. But do you know what happens when you leave cheese out in the open? Vermin come sniffing. Suddenly, every opportunistic scumbag, from Kuhl to Astrogoth Ironhand, was swarming the Skaven leftovers like dollar store shoppers on Black Friday. In the end, Katarin's icy grip did more than just flash freeze some rodent squatters. It turned the region into a no-rat zone, which is pretty much a public service. And just like that, Kislev's frosty defense strategy against evil was as solid as the ice keeping my vodka chill. So get this, I've been chillin' with Katarin the Ice Queen, right? And we decided it's time to build a wall. Not just any wall, but a wall of ice. Thick, resilient, Trump would be proud type of ice. The kind of wall that keeps the riffraff out and the cool kids in. So what's the best way to start a Cold War? You take the fight to Astrogoth Ironhand's doorstep, that's what. Now, pitching tent at Stjoktraken might seem like a summer vacation, warm and inviting, but this was no holiday camp. This was a full-on siege. Our Lady of Eternal Winter parked her ice throne in the Temple of Heimkel like it was always hers. Talk about divine right. Zooming in on the Ice Court's next master moves, they're taking territories like it's a Black Friday sale, Frozen Landing, Novchozy Plesk. I'm seeing a pattern here and it's not a snowflake. It's a blueprint for frosty domination. Astrogoth, my man, you need to layer up because it's getting sub-zero in your backyard. Oh, and the grand finale? Karak Vlag, the ice sculpture of strongholds, bow-guarded right from under Astrogoth's frostbitten nose. That's like stealing candy from a baby if the candy was a fortress and the baby, a menacing overlord of doom. The curtain falls on Astrogoth after a nail-biting 21 turns. The kind of binge-worthy content mix of House of Cards and Ice Road Truckers. All right, grab your ushanka and wrap up tighter than a capitalist wallet on payday, because we're going after the war host of the apocalypse. Those ornery squatters inching towards our frosty homeland like it's a goddamn fire sale. Naturally, your girl Katarin couldn't stand for it. What's an ice queen to do? Go shopping for settlements, baby. Starting with the real fixer-upper known as Karak Vlag. Great bones. Terrible neighborhood. This little acquisition was more than a land grab. It was sending a message like breaking a frozen Snickers bar with your forehead at the supermarket. It says, I am both unpredictable and full of peanutty goodness. Now, I'm not saying that the Ice Court operates with the finesse of a bear in a vodka factory, but by the frosty beard of Ursoon, the way we took back what was ours was nothing short of majestic. It wasn't about hacking and slashing. It was chess with battle axes, provided you don't slip on the blood-soaked ice. War is just state-sponsored performance art. And Katarin? She's the prima ballerina. She pirouettes across the battlefield, reclaiming lost territories and making high-stakes gambits to ensure her people never have to buy a chaos corruption timeshare. So, in conclusion, fortified defenses, shaken chaos lackeys, and a land that's more locked down than my internet history. Kiss your babushka goodbye, because we're going on a conquest colder than a Siberian winter and more ruthless than a Moscow mugging, the Ice Queen said. Da, comrade! And off we went to chill the spines of Kuhl's fanboys across their frozen wastelands. Here's the lowdown. Our frosty protagonist went full Baba Yaga, not in the sense of handing out life advice while chomping on children, but more like handing out tactical beatdowns to entire settlements. We started with a little place I like to call tribe slaughter, and it was less of a fight and more of a polite annexation. I knocked on the door, and they just handed over the keys. Next up, we're talking about the Pillar of Skulls. Now, I don't advocate for interior decorating with human body parts, but I respect their message. We're hardcore. Too bad the Ice Court's cold shoulder was even more hardcore. Then there's Stormvrak Mount and the monolith of Bubonicus. You see, these were strategic like chess moves, if chess involved freezing your opponent's kingdoms and turning their citizens into popsicles. Onto the monolith of Festerlung and the Tower of Torment. Names so edgy you could shave with them. They were next in line for a nice freeze-over. And let's not forget about the gallows tree. Unlike its name suggests, no one was hanging around after we were done with them. Finally, the fatal blow, the bleeding spire. Honestly, it was less bleeding and more suffering from severe hypothermia by the time the Ice Court was done. This last stand of cool turned into a frosty footnote in the Ice Queen's campaign diary. The Ice Court didn't just beat coal. They iced them out of history. Picture this. You've got these scaling punks hoarding the northern coast like it's prime seaside property in Florida. But here comes Katarin with her Ice Court, flexing that superior military might. She's not just playing Risk for fun. She's about strategic domination. First, on the chopping block. Long ship graveyard. Like a winter storm over Miami, Katarin swoops in and freezes out the competition. Historically, it's also super swanky for trade and keeping an all-seeing frosty eye on maritime shenanigans. Next up, we take a swing at the altar of the Crimson Harvest. Who doesn't love a place that's spiritually spooky and strategically snazzy? But no more crimson for us. It's all about that icy blue. Scaling spiritual squad? More like spiritual squat because now it's all Kislev, baby. Just when you think we're done, bam. The Ice Queen's entourage hits Pack Ice Bay, putting those maritime roots on ice like a slick Slytherin move. Wrapping it up, our icy escapades against scaling isn't just Katarin's hobby. It's a statement. She's carving out a frosty no-man's land faster than you can say snowball fight at the Chaos Wastes, all the while making sure her domain stays as chill as her personality. Like a Russian oligarch's nightmare, the Ice Court went into full gulag mode, rolling out the T-34s. T for Serena, obviously, to lay the smackdown on the Demon Prince's wayward minions. Our first stop on this liberation tour was the Howling Citadel, a prime piece of real estate that the demons totally ruined with their otherworldly gentrification. Now the Howling Citadel wasn't just a fixer-upper. It was a demoralizing hit to the Demon Prince's Yelp review. 0 stars, would not conquer again. Next on the Ice Queen's icy itinerary was the Crystal Spires, which sounded fancy but was really just a bunch of demons doing CrossFit with chaos crystals or whatever. The Ice Court, in a move colder than rejecting a vodka shot, decided to yeet the Demon Prince's workout routine right into the tundra. But the cherry on this frozen sundae was the Tower of Flies, because nothing screams evil villain lair quite like an air beam for flies. With a flick of their frosty wrists, the Ice Court turned it from a buzzing hotspot into a chilly, no-fly zone. Finally, like the climax of a Disney movie where the underdog triumphs, they swept into the forest of decay. Newsflash to the Demon Prince. The only thing decaying now is your grasp on the region, bucko. Strapped on the back of a magical polar bear, Katarin conquered the north, leaving behind a trail of socialist icicles and frostbitten demonic dreams. Because Katarin's not just breaking the ice, she's shattering it along with the Demon Prince's stranglehold. Now that's what I call putting the cool in perestroika. What is that? Vermin is back at it again. Be prepared to learn more about supply chains than your Econ 101 professor ever knew while we've got our sights set on some furry vermin. That's right, Kislev's finest has been playing a deadly game of whack-a-rat, with those oversized fuzzy literal backstabbers known as clan molder. First on the princess's hit list, Fort Ostrosk. Now you might think capturing a fort is no big deal, but guess what? Those rats needed their cheese and Ostrosk was the pantry. By putting it on ice, the Ice Court cut Clan Molder's Gouda supply quicker than you can say lactose intolerance, effectively giving the Skaven a real bad tummy ache. Next up, Fort Straghoff had to chill out, permanently. This isn't just any old ice cream stand we're talking about. Taking this popsicle stand was like yanking the rug from under these furry freaks, leaving them scrambling like rats on a sinking iceberg. Last but not least, our frozen entourage decided to gatecrash Castle Alexandrinov. Rumor has it, this chilly chateau was the Skaven's little weekend retreat for their masterminds. Well, no more spa days for you, rodents. Our icy empress isn't just building snowmen, she's constructing an avalanche of authority that not even the whiskered menace of Clan Molder can dig themselves out of. Picture this. Katarin, the Sub-Zero Zarina herself, sets her icy gaze upon Lorelorn, a forest so full of those capitalist wood elves, it might as well be Wall Street with trees. She's not just storming the snowbanks, she's bringing a blizzard to the heart of free enterprise. So, she rolls up with her chilly entourage, sending shivers down the spine of those pointy-eared capitalists, and decides it's time for a hostile takeover, socialist style. She sizes up their puny elf armies and thinks, this is going to be easier than nationalizing oil. Whoosh goes the icy wind, crack go the elf bones, and down goes Lorelorn faster than the temperature during a polar vortex. The Ice Court's strategic chill fest wasn't just about spreading the good word of share and share alike. It was a masterclass in how to freeze out the competition, literally. Victory by victory, the Queen's frosty force lays waste to the capitalist warmongers and claims the frozen riches of Lorelorn. Because who needs a wage gap when everyone's assets are a solid block of ice? The laurels have wilted. The wood elves are now on elf welfare, and Katarin just sits back on her throne of ice with a smirk, feeling the sweet and cold taste of proletariat victory. What's that you hear? The sound of a tiny, insignificant faction called Katarin, whimpering in the distance with only a measly 10 stacks to their name. Here's the scoop. A never-ending blizzard of war might just end up freezing our own bank accounts, leaving our armies more hollow than my last relationship. So what's a sovereign ice queen to do but wave her wand and conjure up some of that good old peace magic? That's right. We sign a chilly truce with Katarin. It ain't retreating, it's strategically not beating the living daylights out of them. For now, this frosty ceasefire is just us biding our time, hoarding our snowballs and building an igloo. I mean, a fortress of solitude and strength. Wake up, people, because uber-competitive world of degenerate ratmen and their crackhead schemes is upon us. Welcome to the endgame Skaven bonanza, the Vermintide crisis, where the rodent rapture comes barking at your door with more nuisance than a religious missionary on Adderall. Let me paint you a Van Gogh of pestilence. You've got clan pestilence, the literal rat plague incarnate, spreading their love like an anti-vax convention, controlling 15 regions like a typhoon of tetanus shots, until it was checkmate. The opposition said psych, and went full Orkin man on Lustria by turn 188. Exterminator sales went up that quarter. Now, imagine a world where Frankenstein's monster was a rat. That's Clan Molder for you, furry Dr. Frankensteins with dreams of northern expansion, only to be slapped back into their Fjord-side timeshare in Norska. They went from manifest destiny to this destiny sucks faster than you can say interspecies breeding license revoke. Looking east, Clan Rictus was hanging 10, both in the Badlands and the Darklands, but their tourist season got cancelled, and they were left with nothing but a sad postcard from each continent by turn 150. Goodbye Ratatouille dreams, hello reality check. Clan Moors, the rising threat in the Badlands, got about as far as a flat earther on a one-way trip to Antarctica, 3 regions to 0 by turn 138. Their credo of dig, expand, conquer turned into dig, grave, contract, remorse, get conquered. Meanwhile, in the southern realms, Clan Scryer was more bipolar than my ex, kinda in control, kinda not, but still clinging to a solid 4 regions like their sanity depends on it. And Clan Eshen? One final ninja rat holding down the fort in the eastern steppes until he self-destructed like a Samsung Galaxy Note 7 by turn 129. What's the lesson here? Skaven might start strong with their underground rave of conquering zeal, but give it some time, and they deflate like a sad balloon at a cat's birthday party. Thanks to the Bretonnian Knights going full Monty Python, and the Empire's Imperial Ubermensch flexing their Sigma male grind set. So, what did we learn from this titanic struggle in the snow? When it snows, it blizzards, and the only economic disparity that matters in this frost-kissed landscape is whether you're a human popsicle or a fur-clad survivor. Take a bow, Katarin. Your brand of cold-hearted socialism has us all equal in poverty, frostbite, and sharing communal icicles. Now let's hang up our ushankas and go lick some frozen lampposts for fun.